Station. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started. We have a quorum as soon as Rene comes back in, but I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is the regular March meeting of Granada Hills South Neighborhood Council. I've got 6:40 p.m. and we're going to get the meeting started. My name is Beauvais, President, and I am going to call the roll. We have Julie Carson is out of town this week, or this month. So I will call the roll, and I'm going to ask our parliamentarian to keep track here. Dave Beauvais, I am here. Mike Benedetto.
Here.
Julie Carson is excused. Brandon Schindelheim will be right back in. Jeff Bohrer.
Here.
Bonnie Bursk.
Here.
Jett Dunlap.
Here.
Don Graham. Expecting him shortly. Justin Kim. Sally Kolstad.
Here.
Don Lopez.
Here.
Darren Lopez is excused tonight. Joel Lyle.
Here.
Anthony Matthews is excused tonight. He's working late, unfortunately. Mark Morris is excused. He's attending the homeless liaison meeting in downtown Los Angeles. Brad Smith.
Here.
Rene Trinidad is excused. He's out of town.
Yes.
Andrew Wall.
Here.
Cindy Wu-Freeman is excused. She's out of town. So we have at this point 10 folks. 11 with Brandon. He's not in the room yet. Okay, he'll be back in just a minute. We are going to start, rather than with public comment, I am going to give public comment. I've got one card. See what I did with it. There we go. If there's anybody else for public comment, please fill out a card. Our first speaker for public comment will be Samantha Stevens. Is it Stevens? Stevens with an S. Okay, Samantha, she's going to talk about Proposition M. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Samantha Stevens. I'm yes on Proposition M. As I'm sure you all know, we have an election on Tuesday. And please don't confuse this with the Proposition M you just voted on last November. This is the cannabis regulation, taxation, and enforcement measure for the city of Los Angeles. Last year, at the November's election, statewide, we voted yes on Proposition 64, which legalized the recreational use of marijuana in California. Now it's up to all the municipalities, cities and counties, to figure out how to regulate them. What are the permits? How many of these businesses can go into a neighborhood? What's the signage going to look like? What's the advertising? How close to a school? How close to a park? Proposition M only deals with a gross receipts tax. All businesses have to pay a gross receipts tax, but since it's a new industry, it actually has to go to the voters for approval. It also sets penalties, $20,000 a day for violation of any of the rules, and it asks that the city council conduct a series of hearings over the summer prior to the end of this year to come up with all those other rules and regulations, permitting, how many are allowed, that kind of thing. And it specifically asks that all stakeholders be involved, meaning neighborhood councils. And neighborhood councils are actually mentioned in the text of the measure. Normally, I always advise people to read the measure, but it's really long and frankly kind of boring. So I'm here to say, please vote yes. There is no organized opposition. I think there are certainly questions and concerns, but there is no formal group. The city council put it on the ballot with a unanimous vote. All members were supportive. And there is a measure N, like Nancy, that was put on the ballot first. Then the proponents of that measure worked with the city, and everybody agreed to support M, as in marijuana. So they pulled their support for N, and there's a lot more information in your sample ballot. And I've got flyers here, and there are flyers up at the back if you want more information. And Dave, I don't know, am I allowed to take questions?
You can take this gentleman's question. Any others? Raise your hand now. Go ahead, Mr.
I
Richard.
remember talking to you at the event meeting. Is there a council top on this? Because if the neighborhood councils are going to weigh in, usually the way to weigh in is community impact statements. So there would have, in order for that to happen, there would have to be, after the vote, if it's voted up,
yes,
then there would be some establishment of a council cost so we can communicate with the city council and express our views on that matter.
You know, when, I don't know specifically, but when I've asked them about what are the details for the hearings, you know, how are you gonna conduct them, are you gonna be all over the city? They basically said to me, we're gonna wait and see if it passes, then we'll figure out what we're doing at that point. There is a concern that it may not pass, and in which case, there's no gross receipts tax, there's no way to enforce it, the city's gonna have to figure something else out. So I'm thinking there's not one set up yet, but hopefully it passes on Tuesday and there will be.
All right, one more question.
Are you CD12? No.
I'm with the Yes on M campaign.
Oh,
I'm
Yes
actually
on
working
M.
for the campaign.
Okay, never mind.
Samantha, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate
Have a
it.
good evening.
All right, I'm going to bypass community speakers just for a moment. We've got several items that we definitely need to go through today. And we have a bare quorum right now. I'm expecting Captain Graham and hopefully Justin Kim at some point, which will mean we'll have more than that. But our treasurer reported to me he's not feeling well and he wants to get business done, so if he falls more ill, he can go home. So we're going to start with item 6, which is approval of the budget report and monthly expenditures. This will be for October, November, and December. We'll start with October. Randy, you have the floor.
Start with in addition to October, November, December, we received another $5,000 from the city, so we need to allocate the $5,000 and submit a revised budget for this fiscal year. So I believe you probably should have gotten it's in the packet materials. Essentially, what we've always done is we've divided any extra monies between general outreach and neighbor purpose grants. So that's all I did was take $2,500, put it in general outreach, $2,500 and put it in neighbor purpose grants. You can see on this, it's now $42,000, before it was $37,000. So I'm just going to read off the totals. Out of the $42,000, $2,400 would go to Partners in Diversity for the minutes writer. So it is the county knowing us for the board vote count form. Public storage, $1,800 for the year. That's our facility where we house our various equipment and pamphlets and swag. $960 for meeting expenses, $3,025 for website maintenance. This is for Aaron DeVander. So general outreach was $15,000. Now it's going to be $17,500. At least that's what we're recommending. And food at meetings, that'll be stay the same at $1,800. Neighbor purpose grants was $12,015. Was the remaining amount after all the other one above it. Now it's $14,515. So I make a motion based on those. Do I have a second?
Seconded by Mr. Smith.
Any public comment?
Yeah, just real briefly, Brandon, I'm sorry you're feeling bad, and it's the worst thing at this time of the year for you, I know. But just as a matter of parliamentary procedure, anytime there's a change in the order of the day, technically there should be a motion on the floor to change the order of the day, to take an agenda item out of order, and the board has to take a vote on that before you proceed taking something out of order.
Thank you. Brandon, go ahead.
Okay. Any other public comment? Any board comment? I'm going to put this to a hand. All right, I guess a voice vote. Is Julie here?
No, well, Julie's not here, but
All right.
let's do a roll call vote on this. Please.
That's just for monthly expenditures.
This is for the revised budget. All right, I'll call the roll on it while Mike takes a count. For myself, yes. Michael?
Yes.
Brandon?
Yes.
Jeffrey Bohrer?
Yes.
Bonnie Bursk?
Yes?
Jett Dunlap?
Yes.
Sally Kolstad?
Yes.
Don Lopez?
Yes.
Joe Lyle,
Abstain.
Brad Smith,
Yes.
Andrew Wall, you're not 18 yet, right? Okay, so you are qualified to vote, and that will do it. What do we have? Well, I can see that we have a majority vote, so the revised budget is approved. Let's go to the monthly expenditures for October.
So this one, was also I emailed about a month ago, but so hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at it. During the month of October, there were four costs that we paid. One was for the general board meeting in October, Togo's for $180.20. Partners in Diversity, that's the for October's general board meeting, that was $207.57. Swank Motion Pictures, that was for the movie rental for the movie night at the party, for $550. Funflix was the actual screen rental for $1,185.21. And as usual, I'm just going to read these off and then make the motion. What I discussed will be true. We still have the same items below, and a few additional ones that we passed during the October meeting, and those are as follows. Encumber up to $1,200 for Granada Hills Rec Center and Parks for the Halloween night haunted house. Encumber up to $800 for the decorations and candies, so this went straight there, close to the haunted house. Encumber up to $1,000 neighborhood focus grant for North Valley YMCA Thanksgiving dinner project support. Encumber up to $1,000 neighborhood focus grant for Reapers Baseball League support. So those are really only the changes that occurred. Out of the $42,000 budget that's been revised and passed, the balance of the budget is $24,319.28.
All right, just
That's the motion.
before you make the motion, Captain Grander's here, just like to note that. We have a majority of 12.
Great.
Okay, motion to accept the October emergency report. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Benedetto.
Any public comment? Any board member comment? Okay, I'm going to post another roll call vote for October's monthly expenditure report.
All right, I'll call the roll.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Dave Beauvais?
Yes.
Mike Benedetto?
Yes.
Jeffrey Bohrer? Yes. Bonnie Bursk?
Yes.
Julie Carson is absent. Jett Dunlap?
Yes.
Don Graham?
Yes.
Justin Kim? Absent. Sally Kolstad?
Yes.
Don Lopez?
Yes.
Deron Lopez? Absent, excused. Joel Lyle?
Yes.
Anthony Matthews? Excused, absent. Mark Morris? Excused, absent. Brandon Schindelheim?
Yes.
Brad Smith?
Yes.
Rene Trinidad? Excused, absent. Andrew Wall? Oh, you can't vote on that, so you're ineligible. And Cindy Wu-Freeman?
Actually, it's not a funding motion per se, just approval of the report itself.
I'll just say that.
So, Andrew?
The ban applies only to actual funding motions, as I understand that, your understanding.
No, I think you're right.
Okay.
Majority in favor.
All right, so the motion passes, and let's go to, I'm sorry.
Could the actual vote, total number of votes be announced, just to make sure we've got the same total?
12 in favor.
Thanks.
Very good. Let's go to November, as soon as you finish doing that, right?
Maybe. Okay, so there were 7 items that we actually paid for in the month of November. We paid Julie as a reimbursement for some office supplies in the amount of $37.84. Payment to Beauvais as a reimbursement for the August board meeting food for $130.04. Reimburse another board member, Lopez, for the Granada Hills Haunted House back in Holland at the Pet Park. That's $862.91. Which, by the way, I don't think there was another check I don't think we cashed it.
Spend that money.
Yeah, we will do that.
Partners in Diversity, this was for July's minutes, so we're a little bit late on that. A little bit late. $238.10. Made a payment to Carter House, those are the UPS store for copies of various papers for the meeting. $167.38. And also public storage in there for 3 months for $389. In addition to those 7 expenditures, there were other items that we, during the November meeting, encumber up to another $150 for the Ground Hills polo shirts. Encumber up to $250 to buy chairs for the Ground Hills fence. Encumber up to $300 to buy 2 tablets to collect stakeholders' contact information. 3. After all those items, the commitments, the amount of balance of the budget at the end of November is $22,524.49. Do I have any public comment?
Make motions.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, that's fine.
That's the my motion is what I just mentioned, those 7 expenditures and the 3 commitments that we made during November.
Second.
Second by David.
Lopez.
Second by Don. Any public comment? Seeing none, any board member comments? Seeing none, we'll vote please.
Ready? This is for the item number 6, November monthly expenditure report.
Yes.
Dave Beauvais.
Yes.
Mike Benedetto.
Yes.
Jeffrey Bohrer.
Yes. Jeffrey?
Yes. Okay. Bonnie Bursk.
Yes.
Carson absent. Jett Dunlap.
Yes.
Don Graham.
Yes.
Justin Kim. Sally Kolstad.
Yes.
Dawn Lopez.
Yes.
Deron Lopez is absent. Lyle.
Yes.
Anthony Matthews is absent. Mark Morris absent. Brandon Schindelheim is. We don't have an excuse.
Yes.
Brad Smith.
Yes.
Rene Trinidad is absent. Andrew Wall.
Yes.
Cindy Wu-Freeman is absent. 12 in favor.
All right, motion passes. Can we go to November, please?
December.
I'm sorry, December, that was November. That was December.
So there were 6 actual payments made. First one was to Partners in Diversity for the September minutes, paper line for $146.52. Second payment to Partners in Diversity was for November's minutes at $189.26. Third was to Togo's for the General Board meeting food in December for $240.02. Then we paid about 3 neighbor purpose grants. First one was to Reapers Baseball for support in the amount of $1,000. And Thanksgiving baskets to North Hills, or North Valley, North Valley YMCA for $1,000. And then for the Ground Hill Street Fair to Ground Hills Community Foundation, $2,500. In addition to that, there were 3 other new items that we voted on in December to encumber up to another $1,500 from the 3,500 for a total of up to 5,000 for the Granada, for the Veterans Park tree lighting. Encumber up to $300 to Nation Builder for website migration. And then encumber up to another $40.43 for a total of up to $530.43 for the polo shirts. I think that covers the sales tax.
And sure.
Yeah, that's it. And after those 6 payments and 3 commitments that we voted on, balance at the end of December is $20,108.26. And just to add, so you know what the cash balance was at the end of December, it was $8,926.02. I make a motion to approve the monthly expenditure report, December 2016.
I'll second.
The items I mentioned. Second, by Benedetto. Public comment.
Just kind of a question, the $3,500 encumbrance for the lighting of the holiday tree, who was to receive the $3,500?
We typically have used R&C Tree Company.
No, I mean, who was that? The motion for the $3,500 was to go to somebody to pay for the tree. I'm asking who.
It's either, I don't remember, it was either the Rotary Foundation or R&C Tree Company.
Typically it goes to the Rotary Foundation. I don't remember what the motion was, but that's what it's been in the past. It's a 501c3. Let the record show Justin Kim is here. Thank you, Justin. And we now have a quorum of 13. Are you ready to call the...
Any other questions from the public? Seeing that any board member comments? Questions? Seeing none.
Okay, this is a roll call vote on approving item number 6 for the December monthly expenditure report. Dave Beauvais.
Yes.
Mike Benedetto.
Yes.
Jeffrey Bohrer.
Yes.
Bonnie Bursk.
Yes.
Julie Carson absent. Jett Dunlap.
Yes.
Don Graham.
Yes.
Justin Kim. Abstain. Okay. Sally Kolstad.
Yes.
Dawn Lopez.
Yes.
Deron Lopez, absent. Joel Lyle.
Yes.
Anthony Matthews, absent. Mark Morris, absent. Brandon Schindelheim.
Yes.
Brad Smith.
Yes.
Rene Trinidad, absent. Andrew Wall.
Yes.
Cindy Wu-Freeman, absent. 12. Okay.
All right, motion carries. Brandon, thank you. Could you stick around just long enough for the minutes to be approved? Or I'm going to excuse you if you're ready to go. Or as soon as you finish.
And all that. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so Mike and I have been perusing through Robert's Rules of Order regarding Mr. Kuzmin's comment. I don't, just for the information, Mr. Kuzmin, we're both using, Mike and I use Robert's Rules of Order, Simplified and Applied, Second Edition. If you're using something else, perhaps you can give me a quote. I'd be happy to discuss it with you either in person or via email. And if you've got something you could point me to, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Okay, so I am going to move one other thing out of order here, and that's approval of the minutes from February 2, regular meeting, and then we're going to go back to regular order of business. That's number 5. You all received the minutes from Julie about last Friday or Saturday. Should have had time to approve them. Copies of the minutes are on the back table. Going to ask for a motion for approval at this time.
Move.
So moved by Mr. Graham to approve the February 2, 2017
Second.
regular meetings. Seconded by Mr. Dunlap.
Or.
Oh, Mr. Bohrer. Okay, thank you. You're hiding on me there. David's head is. Now, what can we say? All right, motion's made and seconded. Public comment on the minutes on item 5. Seeing no public comment, discussion from the board. Any discussion from the board? I see no discussion. We're ready to vote. We do not need a roll call vote for this. I will take ayes and nays. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? I'm sorry? You want to abstain? Abstain? All right, so we have everyone voting aye, no noes, and one abstention for Mr. Smith. Got it? All right. Thank you, everyone. Brandon, whenever you're ready to boogie, do it. Okay, because we still have the floor. Okay, so we are going to move to the regular order of business, and we're going to start with, Millie, do you mind if I take Officer Delcor first?
It's okay.
Okay. Dario, why don't you come forward? We haven't seen you for a couple of months.
Thank you.
I know you got some other duties to accomplish tonight,
Thank
so
you, thank you.
get you up here.
Residential burglary. That's the name of the game. It's really spiked since the beginning of the year, covering both January, February. It's not until now, just in the last week, that we're starting to see a slowdown in residential burglaries, the homes being broken into, especially north of Rinaldi. To give you an idea, in a 4-week span, we had 40 residential burglaries north of Rinaldi, divided about evenly between the Granada Hills sector and the Bohrer sector. But it has caused enough alarm where the division is throwing every available resource at the problem. And the issue for the Granada South is that once we start chasing these guys out from the hills north of Rinaldi, we expect them to start coming lower. Easier pickings for us once they get below Rinaldi, because the streets are a lot more traveled. We have a lot more people out here than we do up in the hills. So we expect that we should be able to pick them up a little bit easier. But this has really been the challenge. Now, residential burglary, it's always been traditionally a daytime issue, daytime problem, 9 a.m. to about 5 p.m. when the people are not home, Monday through Friday, typically, right? They go after jewelry, money, firearms, electronics. Well, the trend has shifted. Perhaps a countermeasure to what we've been doing the last year with the implementation of the Citizen Patrol, perhaps a countermeasure to that. They're scoring their hits later in the afternoon, later in the evening. Really risky, because now you're breaking into a home when there is a good expectation that people might be home. And so it's along with the knock-knock method, which is still their favorite. You get solicitors at your door, okay? So be careful with that, okay? Solicitors, it's a good cover-up. They'll knock on the door. Who is it? What do you want? Oh, I'm here to pick up do that Craigslist trade or whatever, some baloney story. Okay, be careful. That may very well be a burglar. But now the trend is also including, besides the knock-knock, it's also including the stakeout, where they're actually sitting in a parked vehicle up the street and they're watching the house. They see the car in the driveway. It's 6:30, 7 at night. The residents get in the car. They're just going to go have dinner. They're going to be gone for an hour, and guess what? Within the 1 hour time frame, their home is getting hit. So the reason why I'm saying it, even though it's peaking north of Rinaldi, is please put the word out. If you have friends, relatives especially, that live north of Rinaldi, both Granada Hills and Bohrer Ranch, please let them know. Get on e-policing, electronic policing. I left some flyers up there. It's got the link for e-policing. Some of you folks are signed up for that, but let's get everybody signed up on that. E-policing, electronic policing on the LAPD website. And basically all it does is give you access to the alerts that we put out from Devonshire Division whenever we have a specific problem in any given area. It'll tell you what the trends are, what the method is, and it just alerts you to the problem. As we anticipate that these folks will make their way down to the flats, the road Rinaldi, of course, the concern is always then, along with the residential burglaries, it's going to be the vehicles being broken into and the stolen vehicles. These are really the trends for Devonshire, always have been. We're fortunate enough where we don't have the violent crime in this division, but we do get hit for property crime. So a couple of real simple things to remember. When it comes down to your vehicles, don't leave any valuables in it. Don't break the window for a handful of coins. Don't leave any valuables in the vehicle. And especially if you park your car in the driveway or in the street, make sure you remove your garage door opener. That's keys to your house. Don't leave it in. Okay? And as far as stolen vehicles, they're targeting really the late 90s to the mid-2000s. They favor the imports, Nissan, Honda, Toyota, that kind of stuff. If you have one of those, you know a neighbor that's got one of those, a $15 club on the steering wheel, will lessen the odds by a great deal. So those are the things to remember. We're running our volunteer surveillance team. We're running our citizen patrol. Occasionally, we still deploy our volunteer bikes. If you're interested in any of those programs, please get a hold of us. Either our community relations office, the numbers are on the flyer, or just inquire within the front desk. Other than that, I've had great response from the community, great response to the uptaking of the burglaries, because I'm doing like a neighborhood watch meeting every other night on somebody's block and somebody's street, and when it's implemented properly, it has to be done right, but when it's implemented properly, it makes a huge difference for that 1 or 2 blocks that it's in effect. It doesn't take that many people to really make a difference, just 3 or 4 people really actively watching the neighborhood. I'm done.
Questions? No question? One question for David.
I have a friend who says they can tell from the knock on the door if it's a postal delivery. I say no, look through the peephole and ask who it is, right?
Everyone heard the comment? Ask who it is. The front door always needs to be locked, and the catch is when they say they're from a utility company, post office, whatever, Verizon, don't take their word for it. You're not obligated to open the door, especially if you didn't initiate a request. The answer to that is leave your work order outside by the door, come back in 10 minutes, you watch, we're out across the street, the left. The moment you deem that it's safe to retrieve the paperwork, retrieve it, close the door, verify, don't call the number on the paperwork, get a different source, call the company, hey, do you have a work order on my home? And remember, if you can't verify one way or another, don't let them on your property. They'll make up for it. Any more questions? Did I take, Dave?
I got 2. We got Jett and then Eric. Jett.
So, I took criminal justice in college, and I'm a little surprised that they're striking during rainy winter. Traditionally, isn't it supposed to go up during the summer months? I mean, especially with the rain we're having, that seems like probably one of the most difficult times to go out there and rob. I mean, do you have any idea what this sudden spike is due to, or are you guys? I'm just kind of curious.
The beginning of the year has always been tough for us in Devonshire for burglaries.
Yeah.
Among January, February, because they're hungry from the holiday period.
Right.
They didn't score during Christmas, Thanksgiving, when people are home. Now, the way I see it, because of the new program that we've been running, first in the city to put out a citizen patrol. Who's seen it? The white car with the emblems on the door, the light bar. Okay, that's crime deterrent. All they do is really drive around the areas to discourage the burglaries. Because we implemented that early last year, and these guys are sophisticated. They watch to see the changes. They held back. We had low numbers last year. They held back on the burglaries. Hungry during the holiday season. Now that January, February comes around, they've already taken their countermeasure. As far as hitting later in the evening when these guys are not on, we're getting hit. So that's my theory.
Even in the weather, it's funny to think of them all doing that in the rain.
When they score 40, 60, $100,000 worth of stuff, that's what they're walking away from those homes north of Rinaldi. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a tornado.
Makes sense.
But yeah.
Eric Minister?
Yes, have you noticed an uptick in tagging graffiti? I've noticed that churches have been hit, some people's cars have been spray painted and everything. Have you noticed any of that in this area?
No. No, the last time I recall an uptick in graffiti, we got to go back about 7 or 8 years, all along Chatsworth, when they were doing the billboards and stuff. And we never had really gang graffiti in the area. I want to make that a point. It's always been just crude tagging.
I have a question. The homes that are being hit, do they have security? Do they have
Most of
systems?
them don't. I think out of the 40, maybe 2 or 3 did have alarms. And it's always the case that they'll force the entry, the alarm goes off, they either get away with very little property because they don't want to spend the time ransacking it, or they bolt out of the middle, alarm goes off, they don't even get any property.
And about how many of them had dogs in the house?
I don't know the number of dogs. Dogs is always 50-50. When we debrief the burglars, the criminals, we debrief them and try to get intel from them. You know, you'll have it both ways. I won't go near a dog, and a dog doesn't bother me. But the alarms are very effective. Second to the alarms, is surveillance cameras, okay?
Yeah, that's
surveillance cameras. We're starting to collect a lot of video. That's good stuff.
All right, thank you very much.
God bless. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you.
All right, next, Council District 12, Millie.
everyone. Just a few announcements to make. First of all, Councilmember Englander had a meeting again with the stakeholders of Granada Hills regarding the San Fernando Mission Woodley project. And the developers came to the office this afternoon and met with us. And I want to thank Dave for coming to the meeting, and certainly for both the North and the South Neighborhood Councils and the Chamber of Commerce for participating. Many of you, can I see a show of hands as to how many went to the hearing that was held? Okay.
Which one?
The hearing that you were at.
Oh, the 440. Yeah.
And I.
He was the one that was for it.
You were there, were you?
Uh-huh.
Just a few things. As you know, they came back with some reduced units, and today there was a reduction down to 292 units that will be townhomes that will be for sale, not apartments. So there is a significant reduction in density, and Councilmember Englander was very persuasive in getting the developers to continue to work with the community and listening to what their priorities are. And the density was, I think, the #1 priority. Obviously, public safety, I think, was tops, and then the density. And they have closed off the exit that would be closest to the high school on Woodley, so there will no longer be that exit going out of the project. So that's a big concern as well. They have included a community room. They've revised the height somewhat from 38 feet to 45 feet. Let's see. They've certainly looked at the parking, the traffic. Just a second, please, Eric. The traffic, the geological studies, height, all the main things that the community has asked about. They have taken a look at. They're reducing commercial as well. Commercial will be reduced down to 36,000 square feet. And I'm going to let Dave, if he wants to comment further, but simply to say that from this point, the developer has not submitted their plans yet, and the reason they wanted to meet with us first was to review those extra changes and everything and see how the community is feeling about this. If it should be appealed, by a small few, I think there's a large number of folks now that are in approval of the project with the many changes that have been made. And so we would hope then that the neighborhood councils and the community would stand with Councilmember Englander, in supporting a project with this many changes. Let me go through the rest of my report, and then I'll come back to you for your questions. We are on schedule for the traffic signal that's going to go at Kingsbury and Zelza. I mentioned to you last month that the construction on that is going to start during the school break, starting April 10th. And they'll start with the sidewalk on the east side first, which will be ADA compliant, and then go in with the full signal poles, all of that, at a cost of $500,000. But on the 23rd of February, I believe, there was a very serious accident, traffic collision at this intersection, and we have some 4,600 or more students at that high school, and so it's quite important that we look out for their safety and well-being. Los Angeles Police Department has had problems with their phone system, as many of you know, and has been in the news. Councilman Englander, Chair of Public Safety, and the committee discussed this issue at